Okay, so I'm not expecting anybody to watch this since it is about 6:37 in the morning right now here in Chicago, but I just thought I'd do a very quick live um, while I water my orchids because it's going to be really hot today. I actually don't know how hot it's going to be because I forgot to check, but it feels hot. I mean, it feels like it's 80 degrees right now in the shade first thing in the morning. So I brought out a little plant. This is Sophorolea cattleya Catherine Clarkson by Sophorolea cattleya Jungle Gem. I got it from High Desert Orchids, and you can see it looks really dehydrated. It's been inside of my tank. I was trying some cattleyas in my tank, and they have not been doing very well. So I brought it out with me this morning to add to my mounts in back there. If I can actually show that. And I'm going to water. So, and that's the dog. She's heading off, being doggy. All right, so let us flip this around. All right, so here are my orchids, and I do love the summertime. Oh, something very, very excited right there for dog. I don't know what at 7 in the morning, but so first thing is I'm gonna have to find a space for this mount here, and I don't think there's gonna be any on this side, which looks pretty full if you ask me. So yeah, so my tank has not been doing very well in the summer. You'd think it'd be moist enough, but things have just been really dehydrated. So let us wiggle. Let me get around the chair here. Here we go. Backside. So there is still said, hey Tracy, good morning. Apparently only you and I are up at 7 in the morning. So everyone else is still asleep because they are not early birds. All right, so I will put it right here. It's so little. It's so little. All right. So the thing that I love the most about the summer when I go outside is that since I don't have an actual greenhouse, I have to water everything with a bucket and a pond pump in the winter. Because I have tried to set up misting systems and it just never works. But in the summer, I can do this. And this is wonderful. Oh, you wake up at 5. Actually, I woke up at 3:30 this morning because my dog was barking at people walking down the sidewalk. So I don't know why people were talking at the top of their voice walking down the sidewalk at 3 a.m., but they were, and my dog felt that perhaps our house was somehow threatened by this. So I woke up at 3:30, and then of course I couldn't go back to sleep. So that is why first thing on a Sunday I'm out here watering. But the other reason I'm out here watering is I am trying very hard to water early in the day on hot days like this before it gets really hot so that stuff doesn't rot. Oh, I am trying to get past all my Spanish moss. So that's my Spanish moss. Lots of Spanish moss. I really like Spanish moss, but since I like the kind of jungly look in my backyard, what I really end up getting is this thing where whenever I try to walk, I collide with stuff. So, and then, I have some cannas. I got these cannas free at work. We're on limited operations at work, which means that only one person in my sector is allowed to be in at a time. But quite clearly, someone had been in the area. There's 4 sectors in my area, and they had left a bag of cannas, actually 2 bags of cannas on the table, and they're like, free, help yourself. So I did. I helped myself to one. And they've been in these pots since, I would say end of June. So I don't know that they'll bloom this year, but at least they're not dead. This is a vanilla right here. I try to get everything nicely watered. You can see that I have just stuff stacked right on top of each other. This is Stanhopea embryi that I got from another member of my Orchid Society. That's this thing right here. That's putting out a little spike on the side right there. And it's mostly dead through most of the pot. So like this part of the pot, like when I got it, it had just dead bulbs. And so of course what I've done is I've stuck like seedlings on top of it because I just don't have enough room. And so I stick orchids on top of other orchids here. But still totally not using my table except as a staging area to put plants on. You can see there's like, I'm still trying to show my blooming ones off. But, and then this tray right here, this was those Cattleyas that I got from Susan, and there's not a lot left now. Let's see. Oh, so wet. So let's see. Hopefully it's in focus. I don't know how to make it focus on my phone when I'm doing a live stream. All right. So this little guy right here was in my tank, and I brought it out last week, and it's doing much better now, which is why I brought the other amount out today. And then I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 orchids left. You can see these pots are empty. I've already put things in the compost. And then this little untagged guy right here. So I went to dig up strawberries from someone who posted on this local gardening group on Facebook that I was added to. I don't actually know who added me to it, but then one day I was receiving lots of posts about people talking about their gardens. Anyways, so she basically said that she's digging up one of her strawberry beds, and I went over there, and she also grows orchids, and this is Encyclia Mariae, which I've wanted, and actually I put in for a flask from Troy Myers of Encyclia Mariae, but she basically had this mounted, and she basically, as you can tell right here, by the cuts right there, she basically just reached in, took a pair of like pinking shears and just cut it off the mount for me. So that's this right there. So, all right, we're segueing a little bit from the actual watering right here. So I have all my sort of apparently to walk into cobwebs now, and then sorry, to water. So this is me watering. I try to give everything a good water in the morning. Here's my bonsai. Everybody remembers my bonsai from last year. And then and my variegated lemon. It's on the side here. So this is my overflow area. And if anybody is ever looking at my stuff and wondering what I might have for sale, these are my extras right here. You know, I still have one Epi Green Hornet left. I sent one in that big just fill the box episode. And then I did divide my Oncidium Phymatichyllum right here, and I guess it's doing okay. It was in bark. I got it from Nats a few years ago, and basically it grew out 2 growths. And oh yes, Tracy, you are getting your own personal tour because I have to basically see everything to water it. But anyways, so basically grew out 2 growths right here, and it grew out one side of the pot and then the other side of the pot. And so I basically just divided it in half and just got rid of the stuff in the middle of the pot that was dead. And so this is one growth, and then if I remember, I'll show you the other growth, which is in my collection, but this is the extra right here. So, but yes, I love my hose. I'm spinning a little bit too fast, and I do not neglect the wild jungle that's on this side. So this is all my vegetables right here. It's mostly cucumbers because my husband likes pickles, and I have to pickle for him. And then you can see right there the cute little strawberries that I got for them. So, all right, so we'll show prettier stuff than like you can hear the tomatoes getting watered. So my current thing is to water my tomatoes 30 minutes every day in the morning so they get consistent watering. I had a little bit of blossom end rot going on right here, and my epiphyllums get watered too. Everything gets watered. But anyways, yes, I water my tomatoes every day. I know people say that you shouldn't water your tomatoes every day because, I don't know, they get watered too much. But I try to basically set it up so that they only get 30 seconds of watering each. I've got about, I don't know, 10 tomato plants in here. You can't really tell because it's so jungly. And then, like, that's it. That's all they get. All right, so now we're going to back up. Going through the moss again. All right, and I just collided with this Vanda right here. So now the back of my neck is all wet. So look at this. This is spiking. So I got this last year at Nats. So there you could see the spike. And I don't really quite know what it's called. It was sold as a Vandacostylus hybrid, Lucneri by Prelor. Nats, which is in Naperville, here gets a lot of orchids from Thailand. Prayun and Anchali are Thai, and they often go on vacation in Thailand, and there are lots of amazing growers there, and so they get a lot of shipments in from Thailand. And I bought a lot of stuff at last year's picnic, our summer picnic for the Illinois Orchid Society there. So like my Brassavola perenni is from there. You can see it's blue. This is my first bloom on this one. I don't think this had bloomed before when I bought it at Nats. But you know, he just basically had like an entire wall of these Brassavolas. And I was on this kick of branching out into Brassavola species last year. So I got this perenni then, and I got, what else did I get? You can tell which ones I got because they're like on these plaques. I got this right here. This was Sedefidenia mitrata. I think I showed flowers of this blooming earlier in the year in the winter where I lost the top of my spikes for some reason. I don't know why. But anyways, and like, oh, that's not from Nats. That's from High Desert Orchids. But these funky ones that come on these weird plastic plaques are all things that he got from Thailand. And to just, you know, like I went in there and he had these hanging in his hot greenhouse, and he had like 50 of these things. So they weren't in bloom, and I think this was $15. It was huge. It was like $15. And like, so I went through and I did the thing that I always do at Nats, is I sorted through all of them and I picked the biggest and best one, and I bought it for like dirt cheap. So and Nat will totally, like Prayun will totally let me do that. So I get a lot of really awesome finds. And Nats, like this is also from Nats. This Renanthera, Gerald Tan is from him. And it's the same thing. He had some in bloom, right? And he was selling like the ones in bloom. I want to say they were like $35, which is still like an amazing price, right? And this was 2 years ago at the Illinois Orchid Society. Or no, maybe I got it last year. Maybe I got it last year at the picnic. Anyways, at Nats. And so, but you know, he had like, again, a whole bunch of these hung up against the ceiling in his hot greenhouse. And so I just went through and I found one. So this one, when I bought it, I found it. It wasn't blooming, but it was in spike. It had 2 spikes, right? But no one had picked it out because like in the middle, I had to climb into the array of Renantheras to get it. And I think there's video of me trying to get in there, and all you can see is like these black blots because my phone is just pointed at like the ceiling of his greenhouse. So anyways, it's spiking now, but it had 2 spikes, and I think I got it for $25. So he was selling like the other ones for everybody for $35, and I got it for $25. You can tell I like getting good deals from Nats. So coming around this, so right here I have all my Asian cymbidiums right here. I think they're all still alive. Quite clearly, there is way too many in here for me to tell. This right here is my Tracyanum. And Cymbidiums, if you want them to bloom, like the Tracyanum needs a chill in the fall, which I'll chill it. That's really how I get to set the spikes. But if I want to have a lot of spikes, I gotta feed this sucker. So since we've been home for the coronavirus, I've actually fed twice. I just feed Miracle Grow Bloom Booster on my orchids. I don't do like all the special, amazing stuff that everyone else does. I bought Bloom Booster, and I'm going to feed Bloom Booster until I run out of Bloom Booster, because I'm not wasting my chemicals. So, but anyways, I have watered twice because I have been home, and so therefore it's been. I don't feed with a spray or anything. I still feed by basically measuring out the fertilizer into a watering can and then pouring it over my orchids. I do it early in the day, and I feed at regular strength for whatever the Bloom Booster says that it should be fed at. And I did make a video of that when I did it like last year, and somebody basically commented that I was an plant abuser. So yeah, I guess I abuse my plants. They look really unhappy. Okay, so right down here, and you can hear all the water coming down. Here's my other Climaticillum right there. And then I have coming up here. So I have this little aisle against my garage where I use to get down to the orchids right here. Those poor Kingianum type dendrobiums usually don't get the best watering. And then if you can't tell, I actually have I have Cattleyas tucked in there because like I had to get them all out here. So right there is my Encycliolata with all of its seed pods that I'm going to cut off right there. So just trying to get everything watered so it has time to dry out and doesn't rot. Like we pray that it doesn't rot. There's a real problem I had. So coming back around here, if you look right underneath this rack, I have basically into the bar, and I had plants underneath there, and I don't know, I had some kind of rot going on with those. I don't know if it's because water was dripping on them or not, but all of those have basically had to move over here now. So like this one right here. So this is my BLC Hawaiian treat, and see how black this is. I peeled it back, so it looks like it's stopped right there. But yeah, I got some kind of rot, and like the new growth totally came off on this. I don't want to cut this growth off because you can see it has new roots right down in there, and I want the roots because those are the new roots. So I'm hoping that it will put, another little pseudobulb out from here, and can save this, and maybe I can just cut the rotted part up here, but I don't want to take the whole pseudobulb off. So I had a lot of seedlings there, and they just kept rotting very distressingly. So I'll finally move them up. I actually think what was happening is that, okay, I don't know if people can see this, but my glass sunroom is up there, and the edge of this edge right here actually gets direct sun that is bounced off my glass, I think in the afternoon. And I think I was actually like burning, the same way you see those things, but kids taking a magnifying glass and burning ants. I feel like perhaps what was actually happening was that my orchids were getting burned there, because it felt like rock. It was black and they were kind of squishy, but it was like happening in these like bands down there. So I really felt like it was totally like burned. Okay, I gotta get my hose, and I'm still trying to back out of my moss, my Spanish moss. I love my Spanish moss, but it does make it difficult to get in and out of that section right there. So, all right, I have to come around. So the hose doesn't reach long enough to go all the way around. This is my Richard Mueller, my white Richard Mueller. It's actually, I guess it opens up sort of a cream right here. So I still haven't sold the other division of this. This one's open. I don't know if the other one's in spike yet. I didn't pause to see, but look, it's covered in ants. This is why my Alata is covered in seed pods, because the ants crawl around and somehow they manage to self-fertilize everything. So, all right, hopefully I didn't get any water in my coffee. All right, so coming around, this is, all right, what I'm spraying right now, this right here is Braciolela cattleya Copper Queen. It's a Richard Mueller cross. This is my Sunset Glory, which is now fading out to more of a pink. It's that dark pink if people saw it a few weeks ago. This right there that I'm spraying right now that's very small is my Richard Mueller by Adenocarpa, right? And then you guys can just see right here, this is my Camagensis Haritoniana, and it's got like 1, 2, 3 spikes on it. Is amazing. I got that from H&R. I cannot say, I was just so amazed. That was 12. This little guy right there that I'm spraying all over, this was $12. It has 3 spikes. And then in crazy, because I couldn't keep the flowers alive, my Dendrobium Victoria Regina put out 2. Just right at the end right here where I can smack into it every single time I come by and water, because it wants to torment me with its ability to, I don't know, damage the flowers, because it can be easy to get rid. Oh, and then this right here, this is my Cattleya peccaviensis. I got this from Jim Alt. He had actually brought a whole bunch of orchids to be sold at the iOS fall show 2 years ago, last year, maybe last year. Anyways, so he, except he, of course, he had not gotten in his forms in time, and they're very strict about getting in your paperwork in time, and so you couldn't sell them, and so therefore he basically just gave them away, and he limited you to 2. You could only take 2, and so the peccaviensis is one of the ones that I took. And I would totally give Jim orchids, except he has a greenhouse and he's perpetually saying that he needs to like cut back. He has too many orchids, and they don't do well because he has too many to pay attention to. So, all right, so here's my dendrobiums coming in, and then I gotta pull my hose down a little bit more. So this right here, if you want a close-up of all the seed pods on my Encyclia alata, is this not the crazy right here? This is all ants. I'm telling you, the ants have self-pollinated like every single thing here. I'm gonna have to cut these off before like the plant, but of course I have just a couple flowers left, and I can't bear to start cutting the stems off until all the flowers have like passed. And I am still so terribly grateful to Becky for letting me do the fill the box, because I'm going to share something that tickles my fancy, which you can't see in the jungle. But if you come here and you pull aside some leaves, you know what that is? That is called empty space. And so this actually in the space right here is where my my duplicate Brassia Rex Jean was sitting, and I sent that to her, and I'm delighted. I actually, that Brassia Rex, that piece, I had actually saved, it was from a back bulb. I had saved it for another Illinois Orchid Society member, because she said she wanted a Brassia, and so I was like, well, okay, I'll basically try to sprout one from a back bulb for you. And then so I did it, and it took a while, because I think it took about 6 months for the back bulb to actually put out growth, and I didn't want to give her just like, you know, a knacky black bulb. And so I then told her that it was ready, and she said, oh no, I bought myself a Brassia, I don't need that anymore. So therefore it went to Becky. So I hope Becky likes it. Here's my other vanilla. This is my vanilla planifolia right here, and I got a Hoya, and the Hoyas are blooming. And this is my Silogeny, which, do I have any good flowers? I have fading flowers on it. Here's a fading flower. This thing is like constantly in bloom. So you can see like these old stems. It's always blooming on and off. So if I want to see if it's actually got any flowers, I got to search around. I don't think it has any right now. that aren't like, you know, fading like that. It's just constantly in bloom. And then down here, my only two Phragmipediums right here. So the big one right here is the one that I think, after much work, we identified as colorum. It has a tag which I read originally as caudatum, but I think it's actually colorum. I have to wait for it to bloom again to confirm that. And it survived the Great Freezing that I put it through 2 years ago when I did the Illinois Orchid Society fall show instead of bringing my orchids inside. And then this is my Paul Eugene Conroy, which looks really empty because it has not recovered as well from the Great Freezing. So everything is watered, I think. Everything is watered except for that piece right there that's trying to survive from, there's a black walnut growing above it that I'm going to have to bring a what you call it, hedge clippers in and take it out. So that is everything, and everything is soppy wet now, but hopefully will all dry off before it gets really hot. And in case anybody remembers, this is my Habenaria Ragnia. Oh my goodness, the little leaf. I don't know. This is the first time I'm growing Regnieri. This is Regnieri Gabby. I gotta finish putting the little tag of the finishing in. Oh, here it is, Regnieri Gabby. Okay, so this, so Joel from the my Orchid Society gave me a piece. So he gave me a Habanera redusa, and it basically died during the Great Freeze, I think, because it never really kind of died back. It just kind of keeled over and died. And then I couldn't find a bulb for that. And then he gave me this one, and this one did die back, but then I couldn't tell if it was still there. And so then he was all like, oh, well, you know, you can just pull the corm out and see if the corm is there. So I tried and I couldn't find the corm, and I was like, it's dead. So I'm really lazy, and thank God I'm really super lazy. So I didn't, I cleaned up the tag. I took the tag, I threw it away, or the cat's knocked on the ground and I threw it away. And then, but I had left the pot. And then in the spring, those little tiny green things started coming out of the pot. And then I realized that I was just a moron and it wasn't dead and it was still there. And I have no clue what a Habenaria corm looks like. So it's good that I have great orchid growing friends like Joel who will give me these little pieces for free, because quite clearly I'm a dip. But at least it's alive and it's so pretty, and I love the mottled leaves on it. And so hopefully, so Gabby's actually one of Joel's award-winning American Orchid Society awarded Regnieris. So hopefully I will keep it alive. And I know now, of course, that even if I can't find the corm in the winter, that I guess it's still there. All right, so thanks for joining me this morning. I'm gonna stop now and have my coffee before it gets hot. And hopefully I'll see everybody next time.